So ladies and gentlemen, I've seen your request after making the first three videos I made. Many of you came out and said that our lecturers wanted notes. They wanted us to get some knowledge, some notes about this stuff. So actually I was taking you through the practical part, but let me try to show you some of these definitions. I know that you can use a lot of tools on AI to find this, but I thought that these notes are really great. Actually, I'll be showing you or distributing a link towards some of these notes so that we are all on the same path. Still, we are on the same topic, that is statistical data analysis. Of course, this is a branch in data science. That is why it is in a playlist of data science. So welcome back to my YouTube channel, that is Tech with Kevin. So first and foremost, we have an introduction to statistics as just a science of collecting, organizing, analyzing, interpreting, and presenting data to transform the raw numbers. So these raw numbers can be from a data set. So when we transform the raw numbers into meaningful information, how? It enables decision making under uncertainty by identifying trends, patterns, and relationship within data sets, serving as a vital tool across science, business, and healthcare. I think that is a very nice definition because it points out everything. It is just the science of collecting. After collecting, what do you do? Analyze data. After analyzing, what do? You have to visualize, which we talked about in the previous 3 videos. So if you're watching this video for the first time, you can go and watch the previous 3 videos I made so that you people can follow along with this. So we have got the key aspects of statistics. So they are divided into 2 types. That is descriptive statistics. When we talk about descriptive statistics, here we are summarizing data using the mean, median, and graphs. And then we have got the inferential statistics. Here you make prediction about a population based on the sample space. Then you have got the methodology. So methodology here includes planning studies, designing experience, collecting data via survey or observation, analyzing results to draw your conclusion. By drawing conclusion, here you can come up with the hypothesis. Yeah, so hypotheses, they are just formulated guidelines which are going to enhance you while making decision or while making your final decision. So you have got the data representation. Here you use the visual tools like the bar graphs, pie chart, histogram. I told you that histogram, you use the histogram for continuous or scale data. You can use the pie chart or the bar graph for categorical data. Categorical data here will mean grouped data. So the importance, why is it important in the key concept? So furthermore, we can talk about the data. Here data just consists of raw and unprocessed facts, figures, symbols, or observation. Actually, when we studied data, you can also define as just raw facts and figures waiting to be processed. Yeah, so it acts as a foundational building block for knowledge. Yeah, use the data which has been collected in order for you to make decision, or you may give your managers to make decision, but you can organize that data, the data set collected from the field. So after I've said that it acts as a foundational building block for knowledge, which when organized and analyzed reveals patterns and insights crucial for decision making and AI. So data includes text, numbers, audio, images, all those can be examples of data, but often they are stored into tables or database. Sometimes they can give you an Excel sheet or an Excel file containing those data. So the key aspects of data definition: collection of discrete or continuous variables. When we talk about discrete, here we mean figures like all numbers, yeah, like 1, 2. When they say how many numbers of children are in class, and I say that the number of children in class, it is 50, that is a discrete number, because we cannot have 50 and a half, yeah, even though we have a student who is disabled, he or she remains a student, so we count him or her as a discrete number, an actual number. So when we talk about continuous variables or continuous data, here we mean temperature, we mean age, we mean days, yeah, we mean time, because such numbers, they are continuous in that they give us a lot of numbers, with floating numbers, with decimal numbers, yeah. So when we calculate time, when I say at what time were you born, yeah, we can talk of the days, the months, the milliseconds, the what. So we can go into many decimals, floating numbers, yeah. Continuous, such data is continuous. It is, you get, yeah. I want you to dig me, eh? So I want everyone to be happy in my class. That's why I am, bringing that smoothness. So we have got processing that raw data becomes valuable information when processed and analyzed. So we are the researchers, we have to analyze the data. So the types of data we have got, they are categorized as quantitative or qualitative. Quantity, that is numerical. Quality, here descriptive. Yes. Then we have got the use cases, that data drives artificial intelligence, machine learning, and digital transformation initiatives. Then data versus information, that a single value in a collection is called a datram, and data refers to a collection set. Everything explains data. So analysis, this is what we have been doing. So data collection, in research refers to a structured, multi-step process to gather accurate, relevant information. You get defining research goals, collecting methods, yeah, IG survey, interviews, yeah. That is all under data collection. So the key steps in data collection, that is, you have to define the research objective, select the data collection methods, then defined the sample or the population, and then design the research tools, then do a pilot test, and then plan the procedures and logistic, and then carry out data collection, data organization, and data cleaning. So the common data collection methods, yeah, we always do this. So I was still telling you that here we do the observation, document analysis, stroke secondary data, and then we have to focus the groups, yeah. Then we have got statistics data analysis. Actually, you can pause, read through. I want to take you as fast as I can, because I don't want the video to be long. I know that some of you find a long video to be boring, yeah. So statistical data analysis here involves collecting, cleaning, interpreting, and modeling quantitative data to uncover trends, patterns, and insight. So it utilizes the method like descriptive statistics, where you summarize the mean, median, and standard deviation. You get. So when you talk about inferential statistics here, you have to formulate the hypothesis for testing, regression, and then you draw your conclusion about the population. Yeah, you can use tools like Python, yeah, you can use R, the SAS, and SPSS, but for me I'm interested in you people mastering the SPSS and Python, because those are really nice tools. Then the key types of statistics analysis, we have got the descriptive statistics, and then we have got the what? Inferential statistics. Yeah, I think we have talked about those ones. Then we have got the exploratory data statistics. Yeah, you have to examine the data set to find initial patterns, yeah, and relationships. Yeah, so in order for you to come up with relationships, what you do, you have to get the correlations between those results. So we have got the predictive analysis and then the actual analysis. And then the common statistical techniques, yeah, that is regression. Yeah, when we talk about regression analysis, yeah, we mean model relationship between a dependent variable and one or more independent variables. So in other words, in the regression analysis, you can have more than one independent variables. When we talk about independent variables, this is the factors that influence your research. What are you analyzing? So the factors, when we say the outcomes, those are the depending variables, and those depending variables, they will always be on the y-axis. Then we have got what else? Conclusions, correlations. We have talked about those. Then the popular software tools, of course, you all know them. Then we have got the data analysis. Yeah, when we say data analysis in the research involves a structured step, that is 6 to 7 steps. Yeah, it will involve steps. What are those steps? You have to define the research questions, carry out data collection, data cleaning and preparation, data exploration, data analysis, interpretation, communication. So, yeah, you dig. So I've told you that data, it is categorized into categorical and numerical data. So when we talk about categorical data, this data can be grouped under nominal or ordinal data. So under nominal, we say that no inheritance order. There is no an order. For instance, gender. We all know that gender, we either have male or female, unless otherwise. Yes? I don't know why I'm using unless otherwise. Then we have got air, color. Country, you are either belong to this country, you are a Ugandan, you are from America, you are from India. You get? Then we have got numeric, yeah, you talk about discrete, continuous, interval, and ratio. Discrete, counted, all numbers. Continuous, measure, fraction, decimals. Interval, numerical scale and equal distances. Ratio, yeah. Then the types of the variables, those are independent variables, depending variable. I've talked about those if you have been keen, yeah. That independent, here we say the variable manipulated or varied by the researcher to observe an effect. When I say I want to see the factor that influence the amount of fertilizers, those are independent variables. So if I want to see the outcome or the response of the measured, that is a depending variables. So independent variable. So in your research, you have to know what are the independent variable and what are the dependent variables, because research. Then organizing data involves structuring, classifying, and measuring raw information into logical forms such as, tables, spreadsheet, or database to improve accessibility analysis and interpretation. Key methods including the logical, categorical, and inheritance ordering, which ensures data is clean, searchable, and ready to identify the trends or the insights. Wow. So the key aspects of data analysis: categorization. You have to group data logically, chronological order. I don't know, I find it harder to pronounce. So so here you arrange data, then inheritance, structure data, then tabulation, present data in rows and column. So the best practice for you people, consistency, file structuring, documentation, use the version control, use version numbers in the file names to avoid confusion, please. Then the tools and technology, you have to use the frequency tables, graphical presentation. So the measure of central tendency, when you talk about central tendency, the measure is always mean, median, mode, or sometimes range, often cited in this measure of central tendency. But here we look at the difference between the highest and the lowest values. You get? Okay. So let us go to we are ending. So the measure of depression, what can I talk about here? So here you can read it through. Measure of depression, that quantity, how spread data, or cluster the data set around its central value. Okay. So as long as you know the measure, how you get this stuff. So what you need to know, what I recommend that you go find how you can calculate some of this stuff. In order for you to know the theory part is for you to understand how can I come up with the data, how can I get the variance, how can I get the mean, what can I get the range, that range you get the difference between the maximum value and the minimum value. So in order for me to get the interquartile range, I have to get the difference between the 75 percentile, 70 percentile, and then subtract the 20 percentile. Here you have to measure the spread in the middle of the 50% of the data. And then how can I calculate the variance? To calculate the variance, here you get the average of the squared differences from the mean, accounting for the spread of all data points. So if you people are in class, we shall even do some of this mathematical computation. If I realize that the community I'm building, the subscribers, people subscribe to my YouTube channel. So if I realize that subscribers, they are in class, we can do some of this stuff. So I'll be needing your comments. So the type of measure, so we have reached towards the end of this video. Remain Tech with Kevin. I'm here to specifically groom you. Yeah, so actually the weakness I've seen from this social media, from YouTube, is that many people can post some of this stuff and then they don't really give you that explanation. Someone puts a video just for you to watch. No, you have to be, someone must be here to groom you. I'm here to groom people. Yeah.